It is Monday morning, and that means another update with our good friend Nathan Jennison with the Mortgage Architects. So, Nathan, midweek last week, I got a really encouraging message from you that rates had started dropping. So, can you update us a little bit about what's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. So the gist of it is that there's a lot of optimism that we are seeing a return to normal in terms of traffic through the Strait of Hormuz, and then also mortgage bonds are responding by going up, which means that mortgage rates are going down. It can be confusing sometimes,
Yeah.
but generally it's been a move the right direction, and everybody is kind of eager to return to that baseline normal before the Iran war.
So, where do you think we are with regards to movement this next week, and where do you think rates are going to go?
That's a really good question. So over the weekend, there's been some unrest and some potential threat to whether or not that Iran deal is going to fully stick. And so that's everybody's kind of holding their breath at the moment. Mortgage bonds have paused at a level of resistance. In fact, I'm just going to click over and show you that so you can see what we're talking about. So basically, right down here, this is where mortgage bonds, we've been seeing them come up, which means mortgage rates are coming down. But we have two levels of resistance. We have a Fibonacci level, and then we have the 100-day moving average. And so ultimately, what we need to see is good news to continue to push us through that. Now, we do have some news coming up this week. We have the BLS jobs report. That typically has not been friendly to us, so we're going to be holding our breath on that. But ultimately, we just want to see this trend continue, and then we can actually gain some momentum and see rates come down in a meaningful way.
Where are rates right now?
So a conventional, depending on the situation, which is always specific on credit score and the overall buyer scenario, but basically we're right around 6.375 on the verge of dropping to 6.25. FHA is coming in somewhere around 5.75 to 5.875. Same thing with VA.
I think that's great news. It looks like it's promising overall. Can you recommend any strategies for buyers who are kind of watching the rates right now? With your expertise, what do you recommend for people strategy wise?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. So it honestly is different for every specific situation. And that's one of the reasons we call ourselves a mortgage architects, because it's not a one size fits all strategy. Now, for some people, though, they're really looking for the best way to use their funds, and they want to optimize how they're positioning. What's interesting is that when rates are elevated, and if people feel like, hey, you know what, we know rates are going to fall in the next couple of years, we know we want to do a refinance, we're going to be in this house in the longer term. What's interesting is that going for the lowest rate in that situation is not always the best strategy. Sometimes it makes sense to actually take a higher rate and get what's called lender credit that you can apply towards closing costs, and you keep more of your liquidity in your pocket. You close with a higher rate, but it positions you to refinance at a when it makes sense to do so when rates drop. And you actually at that point are going to lock in a more savings at that point and save and keep more money in your pocket. And so that can also be a significant strategy overall.
I love that strategy. And I love understanding that your company, the Mortgage Architects, you look at each individual and their specific needs and what's important for them. And then you create or design a plan that works best for them. So thank you for sharing that strategy. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely. It's always my pleasure.
Okay. Thanks, Nathan. We'll see you next week. We look forward to hearing and seeing what happens this week. It's never a dull moment.
We'll be on the edge of our seats. So
That's right. See you next week.
sounds good. Thank you.